Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. Death Watch here to give you guys more intel so you can update your personal armory and fight back against the fake news media machine. And today we'll be looking at Zachary Levi and what he said at Chicago Fan Expo, which he essentially just sums up everything that people who have been critical of pop culture, especially the mainstream media outlets, mainstream producers of content that goes and fuels pop culture here in America, right? Mainly Hollywood, AAA platform games, game developing companies, and even the comic book spaces, Marvel, DC, Image, Boom Studios, whatever you may have it, right? Dark Horse. Um, Essentially what Zachary Levi says here is that he personally feels that Hollywood is just producing garbage, right? They don't care enough to actually make it great for you guys. They don't, right? This is all quotes. How many times do you watch a trailer and go, "Oh my god, that looks so cool"? Then you go to the movies and it's like, well, is that it, right? Is that all we get? Like, what's going on, right? Look at modern day Lucasfilms, right? For an example, Star Wars, right? The new iterations of Star Wars, and then Indy 5, right? Complete disgusting work right there. They know that once you've already bought the tickets, right, you're in the seat. They got your money, and the only way for us to change any of it is to not go and see that garbage, right? Choose to actively not engage in consuming that garbage, okay? Because he's 100% right. Okay. Again, people who have been critical of modern day pop culture have been saying the exact same thing over and over, right? You have with Boulder's Gate 3 that just came out, I believe, 2 weeks ago. People are praising that game because a indie developing company listened to the fan base, and these gaming journalists, right? These so-called gaming journalists, the so-called voices of the fandom, right? They're over here saying, "Hey, you guys can't sit here and attack AAA platforms for not producing good quality content for years now, while this any developing company with a lot less resources, a lot less staff on hand, were able to make a great product." Right now, I believe Baldur's Gate 3 is number one most rated, highest rated game on Metacritic, right? So people are just saying this indie developing company made an excellent job, did an excellent job, made an excellent product. We're all happy about it, right? How come you AAA platforms that have all the resources, all the connections, all the staff on hand, everything ready and available to you guys aren't making good quality products, right? And again, these gaming journalists come out and say, "Well, you is it unfair for you all to have these high expectations, right? Curb your expectations, okay?" Essentially what they're saying is what the this famous meme that went out a couple of years ago.
Won't it be weird to have the same man who played Batman playing the Joker?
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Listen
Right?
to
Just don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for the next product, right? But Zachary Levi comes out and says, "Hey, stop. Don't consume the product, right? Do not get excited for a product. Walk away." Okay. Again, this is from Variety. Zachary Levi calls out Hollywood garbage. Urges moviegoers to not watch crappy films. Studios don't care enough to actually make it great. Now, he also shared this kind of sentiment when it came to the SAG after strike, right? Where he says here, right? First, he says, he doesn't have, he fully supports the union, the WGA, in the strike. "I remain an outspoken critic of exploitative systems that use artists are subject to working since, I started my journey in this business 25 years ago," right? "The strike is necessary to protect ourselves, our writers, and all those working in production who make the industry move." But he also goes out and says, "We also cannot forget our fans during this strike. Fans that spend money and energy traveling far distances to talk to us about our work that means so much to them. We should be able to engage. Our business exists and succeeds because of the fans. I think it's imperative we appreciate them for their support in our careers," right? So, I mean, it's 100% true. Okay, this guy is speaking nothing but facts right now, and the fact of the matter is like these companies have came out in like the old Dave Chappelle skit. Why do we treat the customer so bad? Because screw them. That's why. And again, get excited for the product, right? Just we're gonna give you slop. Just eat the slop up. Give us your money, and then if you complain about the slop, well then we got our army of journalist shills, right? From all Kotaku, Polygon, IGN, all these again so-called voices of the fandoms, right? And then all the other show media outlets, CBR, Screen Rant, all those companies right there who come out and say the exact same thing. How dare you, right? It's problematic for you fans to come out and say Hollywood is not making good quality content, right? You have to just consume the products. You have to support the product, right? And the thing is, SAG-AFTRA, when it comes to a lot of these writers, a lot of them are garbage, right? Again, look at modern day Lucasfilms, right? You have the Witcher series where the writers of The Witcher openly show contempt towards the books in the game. Okay, what's up with that? How are you going to hire people to write a series based on something that's based off a book and based off a very popular video game franchise? And the writers come in, they're like, oh, we actually don't like the book, we don't like the game, right? What are they really trying to do? What we have been seeing in current day Star Wars, right? Current day Indiana Jones. People hijacking IPs in order to push their bullcrap feminist or just essentially political agenda, right? When it came to the Halo TV series, right? Had nothing to do with Master Chief, right? The writers themselves never ever touched any Halo products, right? It is to them, it's just a job, right? It's just a job so that they can get closer to Hollywood, right? So they can get closer to being essentially Marvel MCU type directors, right? They just want that big blockbuster IPs that will hopefully drive people in to watch butts in the seat, and hopefully they just make bank off it, right? But the thing is that no, nobody is buying this content when it comes to the comic book space, right? I openly talked about how one of the main reasons why manga, right? Dark Horse Comics came out and was like, hey, manga is 1% of our production, right? We only put 1% of our production into trying to like get manga out there to the customer base. However, manga is making up 66% of Dark Horse's sales, right? Why is that? Because people are looking towards Japan and saying, hey, they are producing good quality content that is completely removed from left-wing progressive politics, which is what you're starting to see overtly being pushed in a lot of these movies, right? Again, NE5, look how they trashed on Indiana Jones. They destroyed his character, right? And I talked about in my video the reason why feminism needs to kill off traditional masculinity is because of the feminist theory, right? A lot of these new writers, a lot of these new wannabe film directors, film producers, they all go to the same same film liberal arts colleges, right? They learn all this woke progressive political nonsense, and then when they get into these movie industries, they say, hey, we need to change everything, right? We are tired of the stories of, the masculine heroic male coming in and fighting the bad guys and saving the woman, right? We need to completely destroy that whole, what they call sexist tropes and things like that, right? Anita Sarkeesian and Feminist Frequency, made money off of that, right? That was her entire shtick back during the Gamergate years, right, of 2012 and up. Okay, Feminist Frequency is now out of business. I wonder why, right? It's no longer profitable because these companies are starting to see, the money being, vanish from their hands. Okay, and so really, when we talk about Bob Iger and Disney, he's looking at Hulu, Disney Plus, because he's seeing massive subscriber loss. Why is that? Because people are not buying the content. People want good quality movies, right? Movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, right? Because these companies have given us this in the past. However, again, these new current era writers do not care about the IPs. They do not care about the fans. They're just here to do a job and hopefully get closer to the Hollywood limelight so they can then hopefully get hired to do another big blockbuster MCU type movie and just make money and then go on about their ways, right? They don't really care about the fans. They don't care about the IPs, the writing, the art, right? They don't really care about the art. The comic book industry, right? They care. These writers openly show you that, hey, they are far left progressives and they care more about the political messaging that they interject in the comic books, right? And really, it's just these characters are just self-inserts, right? They are self-inserts of themselves or their political beliefs put on page and then force fed to you. And when you sit down and you say, I don't like this, well, then these writers then go on to Twitter, they go on to all these other social media platforms and attack you, the fans, for not liking it because you're some type of ism or phobic. And then these so-called pop culture journalist websites will sit down and also say the exact same thing. Hey, don't listen to the fans because they're all a bunch of evil, toxic isms and phobics. Okay, keep producing these politically charged comic books, these politically charged movies, and all this other crap, right? And people are like, we're done. We're done with that crap, right? So to kind of finish this off, right? But last month, Levi posted a video on Instagram making a passionate defense of the strike. The studio executives do not care about human life. They don't care about really life in general. They care about profits, Levi said. It's always profit over people and not the other way around. So mark my words, if we don't do something drastic right now, we're doing something very drastic. We need to be doing this very drastic thing. We need to be striking, and we should have done this years ago. Okay, as simple as that, right? Because right here, when he's on stage saying that he hates the fact that the SAG after strike, like the guidelines, are preventing him from being able to go out and talk to fans, get fans hyped up and excited for his for the next project, right? Because they're not allowed to talk about any of that, right? But at the same time, SAG AFTRA is still allowing actors to go work for independent film companies, in order to then produce, direct to what's it called, uh, direct to streaming, TV shows or movies, right? And I believe it was Sarah Silverman who got upset about it, right? Saying that, hey, I thought we were all supposed to be on strike. Nobody's supposed to be making movies. Nobody's supposed to be working. However, I'm seeing actors who are my friends are still getting jobs, right? What's going on there, right? So it's all around just kind of a bunch of BS, right? On one hand, you have good people who are just trying to work in an industry that they all grew up watching content from, right? That's how most people get into this job, right? They grow up watching Hollywood movies, loving it, and wanting to be a part of it. On the other hand, you have a bunch of nepotism, right? Really, it's a bunch of nepotism, people who are politically motivated, politically connected within Hollywood, who are getting jobs, right? Despite having no credentials, despite having no real care about the products that they're producing, they're just there to, again, make their way into Hollywood so they can then get put on a big blockbuster money grab, right? An MCU film, and hopefully try to get rich off that, right? And so again, it's all around just a bunch of craziness BS. But overall, the quality of the content that has been coming out of Hollywood in recent years has been complete and total garbage, right? The only good movies currently is things like Tom Cruise, because he is still the American action hero, right? He exemplifies all qualities of masculinity, right? With Top Gun Maverick, right? He learned how to fly planes just to do that role, right? He does his own stunts. He is the American super action hero that we all grew up watching in with movies, way back in the 80s. Right? I can't really say I grew up watching it because I'm a Zoomer. Right? I don't know jack crap about the 80s or the 90s. Right? I'm a early to late 2000s. I was more cognitive when I became cognitive of the world. It was mid to late 2000s. Right? But when I go back and I watch these 80s action movies with Sylvester Stallone and the rest of these really cool guys, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you see that type of, that cool, buff action superstar who's right there ready to gun down the enemies, save the girl, and do all this other crap, right? Current day Hollywood is like, nope, that's evil, that's sexist. We can't allow that to continue to be the type of theme or trope in these movies, right? We gotta feminize everything. We gotta emasculate the male heroes in order to make these female heroes shine more, right? And it's boring, right? It's boring. It's lame. Nobody's buying it, right? The whole race swapping situations that you're having now. We're gonna be talking about Snow White in a few minutes, and we see how completely abysmal that movie has become, right? So with all that being said, right, we know exactly what is really going on here. Hollywood is completely creatively bankrupt. Is really what is going on here. Creatively bankrupt because the people who are now working in modern day Hollywood, modern day pop culture, do not care about the art of storytelling, the art of creating good storylines, good, deep, meaningful characters. They are more obsessed with getting themselves putting themselves in these movies, projecting themselves, making self-insert characters of their themselves or their political beliefs as characters in these various products, and they just need the names, right? They just need the names of Snow White. They just need the names of Ariel. They just need the names of Indiana Jones or Star Wars, right? In order to trick you into buying that merchandise, right? Into buying that IP to get your butts in the seats in the movies, right? Same thing with the Barbie movie, right? A lot of leftists are coming out and making fun of conservatives and libertarians who are openly saying that this movie, Barbie, is, a politically charged movie with a lot of political current day feminist theory undertones in it. And if that wasn't obvious enough to you, you literally have a character who completely goes on an unhinged rant about how it's hard to be a woman in life because you have to be a mother and all this other crap, right? And leftists will come out and make fun of conservatives and say, oh, you guys are getting so worked up over a movie for kids, yet all these same leftists are over the age of 20 and 30, also going to these movies, right? And the thing is that, yeah, Barbie is the IP, right? Everybody knows what Barbie is. Barbie is a multi-million-dollar IP by itself, owned by Mattel. Okay, so you label a movie Barbie, of course, everybody's going to go see it because everybody knows that IP, recognizes that IP. However, the writers are clearly politically motivated. The writers are clearly making political feminist theory undertones in that movie. Everybody, again, acknowledges it, but because conservatives complain about it, leftists then pretend like, oh, it doesn't exist, but in the same breath, oh, it does exist, and this is why you guys are stupid for not liking it. Get out of here with that crap, right? I'm not buying it. Okay. So, like always, stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you patriots on the battlefield.